what's going on, everybody? It's Carly here. I just got done drinking an energy drink, and now I'm drinking a Smirnoff Ice. I also had corn before, so I'm definitely having a great night tonight. How about you, Alex? How you doing?
Good. I have wine. I have a new wine that's pineapple. And I also have, I think I have that vodka. Yeah, I have a vodka soda thing in here too.
I have a bee's knees tonight, so it's that kind of night.
What about Brandon?
I too had a bee's knees.
Brandon's here in the background.
I'm a recurring character.
So tonight, you guys get to choose what I'm going to present. So I have my 3 that are finished so far. The rest of them don't count. Either I already presented them or they're not done yet. So it's my first 3 ones here. So I have Greek heroes, Burka, the female Viking warrior, or Lady Godiva.
What was the first one?
Greek heroes.
Who's Lady Godiva? Is that like the chocolate?
I think it's named after her, but no. You want me to go quick over it again?
I vote for Lady Godiva. What does Alex vote for?
See, I'm part of me is leaning toward the Greek heroes because I like the Greek stuff. But
Brandon, tiebreaker? Greek heroes or Lady Godiva?
I'm into hearing about this Lady Godiva.
Do you only say that because that one was mine?
And I heard it inspired the chocolate.
I'm cool with any of them.
All right, Lady Godiva it is.
I'm already interested.
So this is Lady Godiva, guys. So Lady Godiva, the actual word, is a Latinized version of the Old English, either from these 2 Old English names, God Gifu or God Gifu.
Sounds like
Depending on
swear word.
It depends on how you spell it or how they used to spell it back in the day. She was an Anglo-Saxon noblewoman. She was married to Leofrith. He was an Earl of Mercia, and they had 9 children together. They were both generous benefactors to religious houses, monasteries, churches, etc. And even on, I believe at least one grant, her name was written on there with her husband's.
I agree. That's too many.
So one of the manors that she did end up donating or giving to the cathedral at Hereford was the manor of Woolhope in Herefordshire, and she also did 4 others as well. And Woolviva, I believe that's how you pronounce the name, looks like how you would pronounce the name, was also a noblewoman during that time. She is also believed in her legend that she was her sister. And this person was real, but there's a legend surrounding her, and it's kind of like, they're not even sure if it's true. A lot of historians don't believe it just because of what was actually done, but you never know. And she died between the years 1066 and 1086. It is a big range because back in the day they had different, I think it was along the lines of So Leofrith's death was in 1057, so she was a widow after this point. And sometime she lived until the Norman conquest, which was between 1066 and 1086. So it's believed that she did live right after this. If not, it is believe that she did die maybe right before it ended, but they're not 100% sure of the date. So she definitely did die sometime between the Norman conquest is what they believe. They also don't know where she's buried exactly. There are a few locations that she might be buried at, but they're not 100% sure. And the legend or where she was located was in Coventry, England. And this is where it was. This is the land of Mercia right over in here. Depending on the year, it sometimes spreads outward. Apparently, this is exactly where it was, right over in here somewhere. So you can see from this tiny map, right over in here, that she was probably over in this area somewhere. And this is what it currently looks like today. So it's a real city. It's still around. I believe it's still referred to as that name. Coventry. How do I clear the screen? There you go.
Is it?
Beautiful. So the legend. This is one of the famous statues I thought Kelsey would appreciate.
How do people make that shit?
It's from plaster.
How do they make it look like hair and fabric?
Talent, dedication,
Do people
tears.
still make shit like that today?
After you started listing like talent, dedication, I was about to say like things I don't have.
Oh my god. She took pity on those who were suffering from her husband's exuberant taxation. This was a legend, how it goes. He ended up granting her request after she continuously begged and pleaded for the people. And he requested that she ride through town on a horse naked. And she said, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. And then he actually, for this to happen, he proclaimed to the townspeople that you have to stay indoors, you have to shut your doors, lock it up, like you cannot look at her as she's going through the town.
Wait, why did he? What? This doesn't make any sense.
That's the legend, how it goes.
Such a like random request.
I know.
And no one could look. Like at least if like, not that it would be a good thing, but at least if the purpose was to like for people to embarrass her, it would at least make sense.
That's what I was thinking. Like I thought it was supposed to like shame her a little bit.
But yeah, no, I think it was just to kind of prove a point. Oh, could my wife actually do this? But then it's at like the same point, like she begged and pleaded, and then he's like, all right, I think it was just an ultimatum he probably gave her that she didn't expect or she wasn't going to do, and she actually did it. And then men back in the day, they didn't want their property to be shown in a sense, and you know, they didn't want their wives to just go around in that kind of either no clothing or very little clothing at all, because it was just totally against the church. It was totally against every known law at that point. But the only coverage she had was from her long hair. I didn't write an H there, I'm sorry. So it's long hair. Alex, help me out, please. And then the peeping Tom, I believe this is where this term comes from. Could be wrong, but apparently it was just a tailor. We don't know his name. There's rumors of who it could have been, where it came from, where it connects with the legend. But the guy was a tailor, and he was the only person who went against this proclamation and stared at her like vulgarly. Like, you know, he just looked at her, sexed her up in his eyes. The legend is also not considered plausible by modern historians, given the subject matter and how it actually happened.
Shocker.
So Peeping Tom and the nudity that is very, very well known. The only townsfolk who spied on Godiva while she paraded through the streets was, of course, Peeping Tom. He is also believed to have come from common lore of the area and not actually literature. I believe there was a festival that happened that was actually dedicated to Godiva, and they made some type of statue or something that they were parading through the streets. And supposedly there was a man there who was a tailor, and he was like pretty much just looking at that statue like, I'm gonna have sex with you, and he was just full flaunting it in front of everyone. And they believe maybe that's where it connected, or that's how the legend began. There's also other stories as well, but in the story or the legend, how it goes, he was eventually struck blind as heavenly punishment after he looked upon her in that way. And the level of nudity is debated, as I said before. Either she possibly wore more fabric, or any type of fabric at all, such as silk that was fitting to her body and was close to the color of her skin tone, so it almost was in a sense like, oh, it's kind of nude. Or she wore a shift, which was kind of like those gowns, those like, what would they be made of, like linen? It was like what you wore under dresses or whatever you were supposed to
like
wear.
A slip or something. Like,
yeah, it has multiple different names. I believe it's mainly known as a shift.
Yeah.
But it would have been considered underwear at the time, and maybe that's what she was wearing. It is also believed that the nudity may have been a Puritan myth, and this may have been caused by some type of religious individuals who were going against this type of church. And this is her throughout history, like different books and movies and whatnot. I was shocked that Dr. Seuss had a book. It was Dr. Seuss's The Seven Lady Godivas.
What is that cover?
I don't know. I would love to read it, but
This one says this one's reissued
by multitudinous demand.
by high demand, basically.
I can look it up to see.
Yeah, no, it's real.
I was started Googling because I'm curious now.
By the way, I didn't know about her at all. I was just telling my mom about Joan of Arc, and my mom automatically, because my mom didn't know who Joan of Arc was, and she's the Catholic in the household, and and then she's like, oh well, she rode through the streets naked, and I was like, who are you talking about? And she's like, and then she finally figured out the name was Lady Godiva. I'm like, that was not Joan of Arc at all, and then I looked into Lady Godiva, and I was like, this is kind of a crazy story. Even if this happened today, it would still be kind of crazy.
Oh, this is one of Dr. Seuss's few books written for adults.
Oh, I wonder if you could still get it.
It said like it was kind of initially a failure, but when he gained popularity, people wanted it back. That's why it was reissued.
It was published on December 31st, 1939.
Mm-hmm.
And it has 80 pages. I would love to know what are on those 80 pages.
It said the book recounts and proves the tale of 7 Godiva sisters, none of whom ever wear clothing. The explanation for their nakedness, even when walking in snow, is that they were simply themselves and chose to not disguise it.
There was also a comedy horror short Subjects that was with the Three Stooges. Yeah. There are also other films of today. This one was, I think.
Hi, Carly.
Hey, what's going on, Leah?
Who are all these ladies? I like it.
We're talking about Lady Godiva.
Like the chocolate?
It's not the chocolate, Leah.
Okay.
That's what I thought. Although this is pretty wild.
It's pretty much a woman. But of course, there was that one person who's known as the Peeping Tom who saw her and then was struck with blindness, I believe.
Whoa.
And was
who struck him?
Heaven, or someone in heaven.
Who struck him? Good. The real questions here, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, that can't really happen.
You never know.
He was the original Peeping Tom.
So this one right here that I'm highlighting right now with a big ass arrow, it was from 1955, and it also covers the story of Lady Godiva. This one is more recent. I believe it was 2006 or 2007. It looks kind of like one of those romantic comedies, and then this one was, I believe, 1930s, maybe 1920s. There's so many different books, films, either she's mentioned in it or like they changed the plot of it. So many different things about her. Along with that, there are also different paintings about her throughout time. So this one, all of them are going to be titled Lady Godiva. This one actually shows her during that proposition with her husband. So Leo Frith is on the side. Here's Lady Godiva getting that proposition or telling him, oh, I'll do it. And it's by Edmund Leighton. It's oil on canvas. And the height is about 50 inches and the width is about 60 inches. And it's from 1892.
I see a ghost.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's bigger than me.
I'm going to circle the ghost. Don't go to the next slide until see the ghost.
I think that's just the canvas is cracking because you also have it up over here.
Yeah, and then the curtain too. All right, you're right. It's just a demonic presence. Well, that's beautiful. She's really pretty. I would have peeped.
So this is another painting of Lady Godiva, but her going through the streets. She's obviously modestly trying to cover herself as she's going through. And this is 1891, a year before the other one was released or painted. It's another oil on canvas, and this was 24.4 inches and 24.4 inches by 15.3 inches. And it's by Jules Lefebvre. And then the one I mentioned before, Lady Godiva, by John Thomas, and it's a plaster sculpture. I tried finding the dimensions online, and then one of them said like 240 by something, and I wasn't sure if it was inches or centimeters, or definitely wasn't feet, so I was just gonna leave it. But it's 19th century at some point. And then another one, this is the one I showed in the beginning, Lady Godiva, 1897, by John Collier. I believe he's pretty famous. oil on canvas, and the height is 55.9 inches by 72 inches.
Why do people make their paintings so big?
Have you ever been to a museum?
Not an art museum.
Oh, we gotta take you. It's so fun. I have a picture of a really good friend of mine. He's standing next to one of my favorite paintings at the Met.
I think I like ran through one of the Smithsonian art museums very quickly a long time ago. There was a lot of stupid modern art. I didn't like it.
That's Lady Godiva, guys.
Wow, that was the shortest Carly presentation.
Yeah. This one was interesting.
Yeah, I like this one.
How about you, Leah? How'd you like it?
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Wow. That's my favorite one. She looks so good as a redhead. I love redheads.
Thank you guys so much. Does anyone have any comments or anything that they would like to say to the people?
I don't think there's any threat I can make for this one that wouldn't just be creepy.
True.
The main
So,
one would be we'd make you ride
Drive
naked.
through your town naked.
So let's threaten all the peeping toms out there that just don't be a peeping tom. Otherwise,
I'll make you blind.
Elsie will make you blind.
That's,
There you
yeah, that's the threat. I'll make you blind. That's
All right,
funny
bye.
though. Generally refers to like somebody looking in somebody's window to their home, but this is like he was in his own home and she was parading out on the streets. Like he's kind of valid.
Yeah, no, I get it. But back in the day, you know, the
Just like
heavens would easily
They were
strike you with
also
blindness if you
specifically
went to them.
told. He was also specifically told don't look, but probably should not have made her parade naked then.
this whole story made no sense.